Every single adaptive breast coil, this is a 16-channel coil, comes with a coil cart. So this coil cart would be dedicated to the breast coil. Now this coil is lighter than the Sentinel breast coil. Yep, weight-wise, this is 32 pounds. The Sentinel's a little bit heavier than that. And when we put it over onto the table, you know, we can bring the coil cart right over to it. And then when you're scanning, say you're doing a biopsy, this becomes your biopsy table. So you can keep everything in here the way that you would want. Now, when you put it onto the table, you've got 3 blue lights on either side. That indicates that all of the elements are plugged in. Everything is working properly. And you've got a few different pieces. I'm going to take this off in a moment, but I want to show you that the biggest difference for, you know, the biggest benefit over any other breast coil is we want to lift the patient up so the sternum isn't resting on anything. If you rest the sternum on something, then after a while it's going to get very uncomfortable. So this sling or hammock raises the patient up, and then there is a little pad here just in case they, you know, so you don't have them actually touching. They can touch, safety-wise that's not a problem, but comfort-wise, we want to try to keep them up. Now, I'm going to take this off, but before I do, you can see that the Velcro's on there to make it adjustable. If you have a really large patient and you need to fit them in a little bit better, you can take off these pads underneath, you put this back on, you loosen the Velcro, and it sinks down in and it helps your patient sink in. Yes, now maybe they are going to touch, but that's why that pad is there. Yeah. If you have a very small patient and you know you want to move them a different way, tighten up that Velcro so you can use it that way. So let's take this off. Go ahead and undo the Velcro so that you can see the important stuff in there. So this pad is all connected. This is an armrest. So right now with breast imaging, you probably have to do pads or something to try to put them under their elbows. You don't have to do that anymore. Also, everybody laying here wants to do this, and we don't want them to do this because it can cause heating. So we gave them hand grips, and we let a patient know this is where you're going to hold on with a separation in between so they can hold on up there. And when they're laying here in your positioning, you're always going to start with the lateral plates out. We call it the park position. And you can reach in, you can get that nipple in profile, you can do everything exactly how you need it positioned. And then you're going to move those, so you'll make sure you're unlocked. You move those lateral plates into where you need them to be. Now, once you stop, you just lock it. And at that point, there are these plates that you can just pop in, just in case their breast is pooching out through a little bit. Now, one of the biggest benefits people would always ask me is, when I'm doing diagnostic imaging and I have really high resolution and I see something little that I want to biopsy, and then I go to biopsy it and I can't use as many elements, so my dynamic, I have to change it, it's not as high resolution, and now I can't see that lesion I wanted to go for as well. Well, with this, the 8 elements per breast, you get diagnostic or biopsy, unlike any of the other breast coils out there. So there are 3 elements here, 3 elements here for each breast, 6 elements in this medial plate. There's an element down there, and that's very important. I'll tell you why in a moment. And then this is an element. So these 2 elements that we do differently than any other breast coil, if you have a very large breast and they're puddled down at the bottom, normally you've got burnout. You've got all this brighter black hole area. Because we've got an element down there, when it does its coil surveys and it's shimming and everything, it knows what tissue is there and it corrects for it. So it may be flat and puddled at the bottom, but it's good fat sat, it's good image quality. Up here, have you ever had a time when a lesion is way back in the lymph nodes and your signal is low and you can't see it very well? We can put a patient in this, we can image the spine. That's how much signal there is that comes up around. So there is tons of signal from that element. The headrest moves in many different directions. If you're doing a medial biopsy, you take this out and you put in this one. We have more grid holes both medially and laterally than any other coil. In fact, up here, there's also a row of grid holes. So if you had a deep chest lateral lesion, you go right in up there instead of having to freehand it.
You're not losing your elements as a extra coil.
Yep, so this is the same three elements that are in here, just with the holes, so you can do a medial biopsy. Now, the one other big thing that you might face right now, when you're doing a biopsy and your doctor can't see very well, what do you do for lighting in there? Okay, and you kind of have to move it around. And so when you're doing especially a medial biopsy, but even a lateral, you've got all of these LED lights. Now, I don't recommend to scan with the lights on, it's bright for the patient, but now you can see everything that you need to. Yep, so over on this side is the only, yep, so just on and off. Yep. Any questions?
These are hand holders so they can climb up.
Yep, they can climb, yep, very sturdy right
So they
there.
have somewhere
Yep.
to stabilize themselves.
Yep. And also, I have done really kyphotic ladies where their back is way up here and their nipples are about here.
Yeah.
It's not a problem. The signal comes all the way up around. Like I said, you can literally image the spine with this coil. So there's plenty of signal there. You can use compressed sets on the sequences, bring your scan times down. Sites are doing that with the breast imaging. But there you go. So this would be like Sentinel 2.0. You know, we tried to take everything good and make it better, and everything that was a challenge and alleviate it. Questions?
Concerns? Are you seeing something that you,
We'll take it a step up.
Do these come up and down at all?
So they don't, because you've got so much space for your breast down in here. We've got volume measurements, and it's huge compared to any of the others. But even with your very large chested women, if you pull it out more and let all of that breast go down in, it's actually because it's way down here, it's a very good distance.
What about post-processing? Can you go with any system like
Dynacad.
Dynacad.
Dynacad. Yep, these plates are curved. There's a different depth depending upon where you are, and Dynacad knows exactly. So wherever you put your needle in, it will know to calculate for that depth. Okay? So Tom, you guys won't do any breast imaging on the preteen? Okay. You don't have to say ma'am. It's okay, that's okay. I live in the South now, so I'm used to it. Everything's ma'am and sir, but. Oh, okay.